All right. So last question, and I've got to give you your day back. What's the best piece of leadership advice that you've come across recently? And it could just be not just leadership, but maybe it's just inspirational advice that is really kind of hitting home with you right now.
Mm. I'm not sure if well, I will tell you the piece of advice, and I'll tell you how I got there. The piece of advice is in those moments where you're preparing to make a decision, specifically when you're anxious, you feel your jowls clench up, you feel your shoulders go up. Take a step back and pause. Take a step back and pause, and maybe, I mean, if it's not life or threatening, if it's not going to cause blood or something, really horrible, come back to that decision. One of my biggest leadership lessons I learned was compassion for people.
Mm.
For my company mission strategy group, we have a little tagline: people first, mission always, right? And I come to that conclusion from a failure that I had, a huge leadership failure that I had, Dustin. When I was working as what they called an aide de camp, I was a assistant to a two-star general. The general, because he was so busy, he led multiple bases in multiple states. He had myself as his aide. He had a sergeant that would be his driver, and he had someone who would help him with domestic duties. Well, this sergeant was a single father, part-time single father who worked for me, right? And there was one occasion where he said, "Hey, Captain Jackson, I have to pick up my son from daycare at 5, and it closes at 5." And we were with the general, and the general was having very important meetings, and they run over sometimes. And I looked at him and I said, "That's not my problem."
Mm.
Not my problem. Like, I was good, right? I was a captain, I had kids, but my wife was at home. So I was good. And I was like, I needed to support that general. But I was so inhuman at that moment. And years later, I reflected on that moment as the ultimate failure in leadership, because I did not take care of that Marine so that he can take care of his family, right? So how could he even do his duty if he's worried about getting to his kid? And at that time, I think they were charging at daycare $1 a minute every time you were late.
Wow.
And so what I have taken from that moment is I was anxious, and when these decisions come, take some time back and really reflect on what it means to make a good decision, or in some cases, said another way, an appropriate decision. So I took that huge, what I consider a leadership failure, and turned it into something that I practice now in moments where I have to make decisions, sometimes split second decisions, take a step back from it and make an appropriate decision.